Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, depending on where you're joining us from in the world. Welcome to Open Up, our live talk show. I'm RJ Horner, and I'm the host of Open Up. I'm also the founder and facilitator of a community called Live and Love Life, and I'm the vice president for Voice of Men 360. Let me share a brief introduction about Voice of Men 360, International Men's Day, and why this talk show, Open Up, is so important. Voice of Men 360 is a not-for-profit organization founded in 2020 based in Toronto, Canada. Many men and boys are seeking help and support in areas of their lives. We understand the demands and the support needed when it comes to our boys and men. Voice of Men 360 was born out of seeing a tremendous need and stepping up to provide for our men and boys to help overcome the challenges they face in their life. We're part of International Men's Day. International Men's Day has been serving for over 21 years so far and represents 90 countries around the world who joined together doing various activities. International Men's Day also created 6 pillars which represent the overall well-being for boys and men. We follow in those same footsteps. So why is Open Up so important? Because men are not willing to open up our hearts and share our matters with people. When we keep our emotional challenges within ourselves for any period of time, those are bound to come out and explode in unhealthy ways. We want to help eliminate that and to provide a space to help men grow from that. So there are no challenges, there are no limitations with gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups to participate. We want all walks of life to participate. Our goal is to make a positive impact on someone's life through our programming. Open Up is on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We bring individuals to share each week to help share their story and share their life experiences with you. Would like to remind you that Voice of Men 360 mission is always delivered with good faith and peaceful harmony. The views and opinions expressed in today's episode are those of the speakers and do not represent Voice of Men 360. Our organization engages in discussion forums to offer inspiration and create awareness to the issues of men who wish to overcome their life challenges. We're not providing medical or therapeutic advice. Should you require that type of assistance, we recommend you contact a medical professional immediately. If you have questions or concerns about today's episodes or any VOM 360 content, please email us at info@voiceofmen360. Today, our guest is Dr. Vikas Puri. He's based in Toronto, Canada, and runs a chain of rehab wellness clinics locally and in India. He's a firm believer in a holistic model of health that involves mind, body, and spirit. He has a global vision to help people live happier, healthier lives without drugs or surgery. His vision was inspired through his own pain and journey, which he healed and became a healer as a result. He's passionate about working in the South Asian community and ensuring that they have the resources accessible to them to improve their quality of life and integration into the Canadian landscape. He is the president and co-founder of Intelligent Health Group and Chiropractor and the chair of the Caledon South Asian Association. Please welcome Dr. Vikas to Open Up. Thank you for joining us and being willing to share your journey with us on this Sunday morning.
Thank you so much, RJ. It's a real pleasure. Every time I get this opportunity to open up, I'm hoping others will open up too, and we can inspire other people to do so. There's a big need for that, as you mentioned, and your organization is doing great work with that.
Thank you. Wonderful. That is the inspiration, is to get people to open up. And we do so by getting people to tell their stories, to tell about their journey. So tell us a little bit about your journey, starting as early as you can, and maybe let us know what led you towards becoming this holistic expert.
Yeah, it's really it's an amazing life. Is an amazing journey. I mean, everything that's happening in everybody's life, it's whether it's positive or negative as you see it, it's all a big movie, if you can call it that. And you're able to write the screenplay as you go along. And when you start feeling that and realizing that, you get more empowered and you can do a lot more. But obviously, it doesn't become that obvious. It's very difficult at times. Life can be very stressful, and lots can happen. But if you start becoming a bit more aware and letting life unfold in front of you and just seeing, what things are coming in front of you, what challenges, what obstacles, what you're supposed to learn from them, understand that everything in life is about learning and take it one step at a time, and grow from it. So obviously, hindsight's 2020. So when we go back in time, we can kind of see why certain things happen in life and how they led us to today. Then you see that everything can be a blessing. And I see that in my life for sure. Growing up, I think that was the foundation that I think I was blessed with, is a strong family, like an amazing family that inspired great values in me and mindsets that I used to help me through some really challenging times of my life for sure. So, I come from a South Asian family, and we are a very spiritual family. So growing up, I remember like, the basically the concepts of faith and power of prayer. These all came into technicolor for me from an early age. I was in an extended home. I had my grandparents living with me, and my parents, again, very spiritual minded. So we all talked about, spirituality, philosophy quite a lot. So you pick these things up, uh, things like morality, not to lie, to treat others with respect, to love all religions. All this came, and I especially remember things like, my grandfather telling me stories of miracles that, if you pray hard enough, then God listens. And so I remember one birthday, I woke up early in the morning. I was like maybe 6 years old at the time, and my grandfather would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and pray. So I kind of sat there, and uh, and I remember basically putting in a little offering in front of the holy book, and basically as he was praying, I was just kind of anticipating that my offering would be accepted by God. And I remember after he was done praying, I went to the bowl, and sure enough, the offering was gone. So immediately, like, I it just gave me the, not just even I was, as a child you have full optimism and understanding that everything that's being told to you, that's a truth. And so really it came to give me that understanding that, whatever you believe, that's true. Anything the mind can conceive and believe becomes your reality. It absolutely does. So that
Mm.
is some of the things that I remember from early childhood. Again, is the spirituality. And I remember, in my late teens, my grandfather handing down a family book of the autobiography of a yogi, which is a great book. If people haven't read it, it's an amazing thing about the first yoga teacher that came to North America and started a huge organization, Self Realization Fellowship. And it's a very secular outlook, but based on traditional philosophy, Indian philosophy,
Mm.
and very esoteric teachings of meditation and so forth. And um, it was very inspiring to start reading that at age 17. And my family had read it, and then I read it, and it changed my life perspective. So much understanding of the answers of life, came to me. Um, and it was great at that time because obviously as teenagers, different hormones happen, different changes happen, and I remember being quite depressed through the early part of my teenage years. Obviously, some of it was just you can think hormonally. Some things are basically just not understanding your place in life and so forth. You're trying to find your identity. So I can definitely relate to youth in that situation. And I remember not really feeling much purpose in life at that moment. And then you get this understanding, and you're like, wow, I I get it, I get it. And so then I started to become a big meditator at that time. Again, at age 17, 18, had some amazing uh, you know, understandings of life from an early age there. And then, unfortunately, though, like everything, life continues going on. And then in university, I remember getting into university. I did my minor in religious studies and my major in human biology. But I remember in university meeting a girl who then I felt I fell in love with. And uh, it was very difficult because it was in our culture at times as well, culturally speaking, that's not the norm. to fall in love with somebody. It's you think of doing that maybe later in life, or maybe having arranged marriages, or certainly finishing your studies first. But what I understood only later was that I was definitely in love with the concept of falling in love, and very quickly I saw in that relationship I had with this person that uh, she was very different than me. Her feelings of on spirituality were very different than me. Different concepts of life were different. Family concepts were totally different. But because I had this now growing up, feeling that there are certain ideals that you have to uphold, like if you say you love somebody, then you're constantly proving it. So that became one of my things where I would basically hold myself accountable to make sure that, what do people think of me? I want to give my love completely. And if people don't see that I love them, then I would think less of myself. So I would work even harder to try and prove myself. And
Wow.
so I remember that, you know, um, I could see that this relationship wasn't a positive one in the sense that we don't really get along and there's not a like mindset. But because I've said that, I love this person and the person says she loves me, then that's good enough. Love should rule. And I know growing up in Indian culture, we watch Bollywood movies too, and there's always that too where you feel like everything is perfect and love conquers all. So you become very innocent at that age, and then so family wasn't overly happy with what my choice was at the time, but uh, because I wanted to say to myself, no, this is important, I went for that. So I know a lot of people do that, and but it's really important to understand, and I only understand later, is that love is one thing, but having a life partner is different, and
Mm.
and they're two different things, and you
Yes.
want to make sure that you're compatible. And so when I finished, I was really into health sciences, obviously, and growing up in Indian culture, you're always inspired to get educated properly, and so I always wanted to be a doctor. So I went into chiropractic philosophy and chiropractic sciences because I love the science and the philosophy. It was very spiritual. It spoke to me,
Mhm.
innate intelligence that heals the body and without drugs or surgery. And you can heal yourself just by eliminating the interference from brain and body. It was a beautiful philosophy and understanding of natural healthcare. So I went into it. And, so I had done that. So after I finished chiropractic college, then I got married, and that's where I guess things really started to change for me because immediately, what I thought would get me to this point where even though I knew that there was difficulties in this relationship, we didn't see eye to eye. We would fight constantly, but I thought once you're married, maybe things will change, but that didn't happen. In
Okay.
fact, things got a lot worse in my marriage. So um, there was a lot of now only I can see it. In the beginning, you don't really label these things, but from the beginning, it was just a lot of emotional abuse and you know domestic abuse in the sense of power and control. And you don't realize it at the time, but again, from day one, even before the marriage, I was feeling it, but certainly after, the amount of control somebody can put on you in a relationship is immense. And all those things and the frameworks I had of spirituality and about, self, it withered away very quickly.
Mhm.
And that took me to a very bad spot in life. Um, I was in a situation with my wife, I believe, was had some psychological issues, even though she doesn't admit it. But obviously, she was shaped by her own experiences of life, and they weren't well to do, so they were taught to live very frugally. So the thought process of spending money on anything was something where she really felt strongly that that shouldn't happen. So very quickly I was kind of chastised if I wanted to spend money on anything. And so she says, she was an accountant, and she felt like she can take care of money. So give her all the money, she'll take care of it. And she wants us to be able to save for a rainy day. That was her statement. Um, and that's what we always had to do. She wanted me to work hard and bring money in, because she goes, we need to support our family, and that's your responsibility. So was told to work 365 days a year, maybe take Christmas off. But other than that, work. That's all you have to do, and bring her the money. And once I would bring the money home, she would take the money, and I wouldn't know where the money would go. But she said she would invest in it, and only she knows how to do that. So, and and then we had a son, and after that things got even worse. So she got really the son became the world to her, and she wanted to protect him in her own way, which became a very strange way, of trying to protect him. And so basically, she wanted no outside influences in our life. So from the very beginning of our marriage, she isolated me from my family, and she says, once you're married, then the wife is everything, and family is secondary. So, we were said, what, and she didn't like it, but she said, okay, we have to meet your family. We'll meet them every couple of weeks. We'll meet them for a few hours, or let them take us for dinner or something. But
Okay.
we can't pay. We can't pay. Let them do that, and we'll see them every couple of weeks. And then after our son was born, I wanted my parents to have more of a role with my son. But again, it became even more like, okay, we can only spend a couple of hours. They can only come between naps. They can't feed him. They can't do anything. It's only our job. They're not supposed to do anything. And I became more isolated. From the very beginning as well, my friends were taken away from me, in the sense that she said, friendships are just where you're desperate for attention. We don't need friends, and we just need each other. That's the way it should be. And things like that. So it became more and more, as you look back on it, it's called a gaslighting effect. And I didn't realize what this effect was till later, but gaslighting is a form of domestic violence and power and control, where basically the abuser kind of really puts their own paradigm of reality upon you, and really reduces your thinking process to nothing, and it really makes you question your own reality, and their firmness and their stance of what reality truly is so powerful, so strong, that they can really coerce you to follow along. Otherwise, the repercussions are constant uh, constant aggravation, constant chastising, constantly saying that you're the worst person in the world, the worst husband, etc. Really, putting one down, and your self-esteem goes to
Right.
nothing. It can become very, very difficult. And so, there's so many experiences that I could go through, but suffice it to say that I became extremely suppressed, and the frustration got to me so much that, like you said, with men, with us, one thing that happens is, because we're programmed to have a fight and flight response when you're under stress, and the stress of basically being away from my family, and uh, in terms of the stress of being away from my family, not being able to be true to who I am, and now starting to go away from, everything that I believed in, it became very, very stressful. And so I became really angry. And so anger management became a huge issue. I couldn't control my emotions. And the only thing I could take my frustrations out on was myself. So I would, just leave it to, beat myself, or hit objects, or, make holes in the wall with my fist. Anger became a huge, huge issue. And I just felt entrapped, and I didn't feel like I could go back. And, part of it was definitely that, to try and prove that, um, you know, I didn't want my family to think that I wasn't happy, because obviously they didn't think this was going to work. And I wanted to prove them wrong in that way. But at the same time, now that you're in this, and you're just basically trying to prove your loyalty constantly, and you're being challenged to prove your loyalty constantly, you keep doing it, and then you forget, anything else. You just want to keep peace. You just don't want to be angry. You just don't want to be in a situation where you're being put down.
So did you eventually maintain this relationship? Did it keep up, or did you resolve this issue somehow?
So basically, continuing through uh, the situation, it just became, like I said, a situation where I became worse and worse and worse. And again, even professionally, my wife didn't believe in chiropractic. She didn't want me to adjust her or take care of her at all, and she thought that it didn't it wasn't a true science. So I even lost that certainty. So after losing all the certainty in even my spiritual realm, my family realm, my social realm, my professional realm, and being told I shouldn't invest in myself, again, that money should be kept for us. We should invest in the clinic. So I never upgraded my clinic, um, even a cent into my clinic. It still looked, you know, the way I did when I took it over, and I didn't upgrade my education, etc. Um, but yeah, no, to answer your question, after being in the situation and so much stress and so much situation where I just felt lost, and then I began having suicidal ideations, even, or just thinking that life is just not worth living, and thinking many times about driving the car off the road, or just ending life. Uh, Especially seeing my son growing up and seeing that what he's not getting a healthy home, and I can't really be much use to him. She also wanted me to be a stay-at-home dad so she could go work, and I could just go and work in the evenings in my clinic. So I did that from when he was born until he was 5. I stayed home and I took care of him. But um, again, I was told exactly what to do, exactly how to feed him, and some things just didn't make sense. So when I started seeing my son getting affected and basically his health coming down, and I didn't want him to continue living in this way, in this type of home, that's when, to answer your question, then I did break free. It took about 10 years of marriage almost. But after being in that situation and seeing how my son was getting affected, he was almost 5 years old at the time. I eventually, there was a straw that broke the camel's back, and I said, I can't do this anymore. And it was a difficult thing, but I remember setting a deadline of Canada Day, Independence Day, and saying I'm going to free myself. And so that's what I did. Then I moved away from. I was able to separate, and I you know separated, and then ultimately we ended up with our son staying half the time between both homes. But that's what happened. It was very difficult to get to that point where you literally are lost and you feel like life is not worth living. But when you see that as a father, that your son is getting affected, I think the whole archetype of protecting your children comes in, and you're like, you don't want this lifestyle for them. And I think that inspired me to break free. And when I did, then everything started to change. I mean, once I started to run away from who I was and what I was, I then everything from the beginning of childhood is what saved me and supported me. So my family,
Yes.
my my,
Now, so
my sorry, go ahead.
continue, please.
No, I said, so my family was there, and immediately they took me in, and I basically surrendered back into my family, and um, they were so unconditionally loving that they forgave everything about me, removing them from life for so long. My sister was amazing, as you know. Puri is amazing. She's been on the show. She's a counselor and social worker, and big advocate for gender equality. So she became my first counselor, and she helped me with understanding what happened. That it was power and control. She showed me the power and control wheel. She guided me, so she was huge. I owe her a lot. And certainly my family, and then my spirituality came in. I just immersed myself fully into my spirituality again, to Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings, as I mentioned, Self-Realization Fellowship, and became again really ingrained in it, and it really supported me, really helped me heal. Then I took counseling. I got a lot of counseling, and that's my first experience with counselors. Because during marriage, I wasn't allowed to speak to a counselor or to speak to anybody about what I was going through. That would be disloyal, so I never did. But counseling was amazing, and this is where I want to kind of start again inspiring other people that mental health is a huge thing. Mental health is something that men just don't open up about. And I always say, I don't know why there's the stigma. Now I can see it, that counseling just helps you digest your emotions. It basically helps you assimilate everything that's happened and put into a positive framework so you can move forward. And we really need to improve and advance mental health awareness, especially in men. I remember, just feeling so like distraught and thinking that I just won't be able to continue. And my counselor saying that you can't continue. And I said, "What do you mean I can't continue?" That's why I just said I don't think I can continue. She goes, "Because you're already dead. That Vikas Puri already died. He doesn't exist.
Nice.
So the only person that exists right now is you." And that was a huge awakening for me. And then immediately, ironically, at the same time, I had this feeling. Okay, well, then I need to start. I have a new life, so I called it. Okay, I have a rebirth here, so I want to make things happen. And a quote came to me right away. I was reading something, so I began reading a lot voraciously then to try and improve my understanding of myself. And it was an amazing quote that came about the phoenix that grows. That basically we understand now that as healers, we are people that have already kind of suffered, and now we can raise from those ashes and help others. And so that became my framework where I'm like, okay, I want to do that. Then I want to basically help other people and not to suffer. And so I immediately began running, and I've been running ever since. I just want to run away from that person who I was, and I wouldn't see myself. I was told by my wife I was the stupidest person in the world. I was nothing would become of me, and that the chiropractic isn't real, and these my sensibilities weren't true, and so I began running away from everything opposite. So from the darkness to the light, I've just continued to run. So and then I became totally. I invested so much heavily into my education afterwards, and I spent tens of thousands of dollars to my education and upgrading my skill sets as a practitioner. In order to heal myself, I went to the healing arts. So first, I healed myself through my spiritual and energetic medicine, and then I began to use that to help other people. So Reiki, energy work, and first I healed myself, and I was able to heal others. And I continued, trying to improve things with the profession, worked for the college, um, and then I guess life really changed then when I was able to go to found a journal given to me by my mom, and I looked at it, and there was an amazing mission trip to India coming up, where chiropractors from around the world would gather and they would give free service to the poor and needy. And that became a huge turning point for me, where I immediately jumped on that opportunity. I went over, and that's when I actually was able to, start working with my current wife now, Dr. Gina Bajaj, and we had some amazing experiences over there. But this mission trip was all spearheaded by an amazing doctor here. He became a mentor and a friend, Dr. Jimmy Nanda. So I really owe him a lot of gratitude because he does this amazing philanthropy and around the world and gives helps inspire chiropractic and love and service to people. So once we were at the mission, I really felt that I was helping others heal, and I felt every time I did a healing or every time I helped people, I was helping myself move even further away from the person I was and be of value. Because at one point I didn't feel I was of value. Obviously, I thought that life was worthless and nobody would even realize if I was here or not. So from that point on, and now my wife, Dr. Gina Bajaj, and I, we had a vision beginning in 2017 where we said we want to create something big and leave a legacy where we, you know, inspire other people to live happier, healthier lives. And that became the vision and the mission. And to give, love, and serve, because at the mission trips, that's the emblem on the side of our shirts: give, love, and serve. And so we began an organization, Intelligent Health Group, in 2017. We started with a couple of clinics in India because that's where mission trips had been, and we saw that there was so much need there. So
Okay.
we started there, and then we began a few clinics here locally. as well, and now we want to continue growing. And so it's been an amazing journey. Obviously, I owe a lot to my wife, Dr. Gina Bajaj, continue inspiring me to believe in myself. It became like literally 180. Obviously, I had my previous wife who didn't believe in chiropractic, believed not in advancing oneself and doing much beyond one's own self, and to a wife that obviously believes in a global vision of helping everybody in humanity as a whole, and inspiring me that I am worthy, and I should fully believe in myself. So life can change. We Even though it seems at one point that life is over and that nothing is is going to help, things can always change. There's always support systems out there. There's always things that we can tap into. And I want to make sure that message is out there that, the next moment, like if you think life is over, pretend that it is over and your next moment, life is beginning anew. What would you do? What choices would you make if you were to begin life anew? Because that's what I did. And I've begun running ever since. And I've been trying to say, I'm going to prove myself to myself. And every little accomplishment we do, I savor it because it's like being reborn, and you have the opportunity again. And
Mhm.
it's like near death experiences. When you come back, you just don't take things for granted. I don't take any moment for granted, and I just want to move forward and
Right.
do more and do more and accomplish more.
There was one and there was one comment you made where you said, "I don't want I don't think life should go on anymore. I don't want to live anymore." And you know what? I think you made that decision at that point, that not that you didn't want to live anymore, but you didn't want to live like that. And you moved forward from that. Like you said, it's a rebirth, right? So I want people to recognize that, because whenever you're down in the dumps, whenever you're feeling that moment of struggle, like you can't go on, it's you can and you have to. So what do we do from here? Right?
No, that's absolutely it. And it's difficult though when you're in that moment and you feel like life is over and you don't deserve to live, or
Right.
life isn't worth living. I know logic is not there and reason isn't there, but if you can ever, like, just have this, what we're saying here, sometimes, like I said, these old frameworks that we have, whether it be faith or family or other understandings we've had, it's amazing at what times they will come and support you. The
Right.
universe will come and support you, and I feel that happened to me. When I was in
Exactly.
those moments, I that was the immediate time when I said the straw broke the camel's back, and
Right. And
then began to unfold.
you had the influence, you had the structure from your parents and your grandparents, that not a lot of people have access to. They're not taught that these things at an early age. So you had something to go back to and rely on to, based on your teachings from your family and your own inspiration.
Absolutely. And I know people, unfortunately, may not be so lucky with that, but
Right.
that doesn't mean that they don't have frameworks. They have shows like this. They have inspirations that they can get. There's organizations out there, the social organizations. And so, for example, now I began the Calden South Asian Association, and
Yes.
again, it's a social services and improving and empowering people, again, for the sake of living happier, healthier lives, but to provide mental health workshops, to basically make sure people have a platform, especially immigrants, where they can help get integrated properly into the system without the undue stress and burdens. So we need to kind of provide safety measures for people, and access to people. So uh,
Okay.
definitely there's organizations out there. There's counseling services out there. There's people there's resources people can tap into, and people should just know that. So just hearing that now, if anybody goes through anything, they should know there are places you can go and look things up, and there's things you can plug into, and they are the means to basically saving you.
Absolutely. One of the things that we like to discuss here, but first of all, I've never had anybody taking me out of the interview, by the way, but you had a compelling story and I let you run with it. So for that's awesome. But to end out the show, we kind of ask how we can help our boys and men. So how can we, first of all, how can our boys and men um, do something to empower their own lives?
Um, so much. So, as I mentioned, I know some big things that men deal with. As I mentioned, anger management, which I've been through. It's a horrible place to be, and I know we're not proud of it when we get angry and we can't control our emotions. But I think it's easy, it's again, it's really important that people get some guidance and get some counseling. And but I know not all men are open to that in the beginning as well. We again feel like, our problems are our own and nobody else should get involved. So I
Mhm.
say, then you know what? Then do it yourself. There are ways so you can do it yourself. The first way is just to breathe. So I always talk about breath work with people. And, as we shallow our breath, we get more relaxed and more detached from the situation. It's so easy. The easiest tip is just to take 5 deep breaths in and out, and try to visualize yourself moving away from the situation. When you're away from the situation, you can evaluate it a lot better. So um, stress management, looking up stress management, studying it. That's definitely something I definitely recommend for people and for men. Obviously, men want to be better parents and role models. So there's parenting workshops out there. I remember doing parenting workshops after I had separated, and that really helped me. Helped me understand, again, better ways of being a parent, better ways of being a role model. Like we don't want, if we don't want to go through our kids to go through these same situations, we have to be the right role model and put frameworks around them so they're better protected for the future. So
So you may have just answered my next question: is what can we as a society do to help our men, our young men?
absolutely, let's be the change we want to see in the world, like we always say. I mean, Mahatma Gandhi's quote, but it's so true all the time, right? Change starts with ourselves, and like I said, like you have to be in a good place to be able to help others, right? So let's take care of our own selves, become a role model, which is what I hope to do for my children, and then they'll be in a better place. Obviously, the society continuing to have shows like this, what you guys are doing, platforms where people come and share the story, um, and I apologize for taking you out of the story, but I just wanted to, I guess, unload that. You know what? I get it. I've been there where, you feel hopeless and helpless, and you feel a great deal of stress and strain. You feel like, you need to provide for the family, and you just need to do it yourself, and the world's on your shoulders. And there can be frustrations, there can be anger. I've been through all those sorts of things that men can go through. I've also been on the side where people think that men can't be abused, they can't be victims. Even when I was looking up things like, okay, domestic violence, only thing that comes up is female abuse or wife abuse. Very little is out there on husband abuse. So we need to definitely create more workshops on that, more town hall meetings, possibly. We need to bring more awareness. I certainly hope to write a book one day about self-help and empowering men to be able to speak up and have a voice, and that no, they can equally be victims, and there should be equal supports out there. Right now, obviously, females have a great amount of supports, which they should, but men also need those supports, right? And we need to be able to talk about it a lot more, and there should be less stigma around it. Obviously, that's going to take time. There's certainly a stigma around, a man that is has been abused. You look to be weak. I mean, it goes against the archetype of the muscular man, right? So and you're not supposed to be emotional. You're not supposed to be abused. In fact, you were supposed to be stronger than that. So, but strength really comes from actually opening up and not holding it in. And I think that is something that we need to, again, hopefully strive to continue educating people about.
Dr. Vikas, thank you for using the term open up. Again, that's what we're all about here is getting people to share their journeys. If I thought you weren't going to be entertaining and sharing some wisdom out there, trust me, I would have interrupted and asked you some guiding questions. But you told quite a compelling story, one that I think people needed to hear, and one that is going to hold a lot of value for people out there. So, is there anything you want to just share with people before you leave us today?
Life is just about being happy. Life is short. If something in a situation is not making you happy, you have the power to do something about it. You can be the creator of your own destiny. You have the full power. The maker that made you is you. You are one with the maker, and our potential is infinite. That's why our tagline for our organization is, we help unlock your infinite healing potential, because it's about helping guide you and helping you understand that all that power exists. You can accomplish anything you want in life. and just be happy. If some situation's not making you happy, in my case it was a relationship, but anything, then move away from it. You don't have to be bound by it, and we can be better. We can be better as men, as a whole society. We can be happier, and there's always a way. You never
Absolutely.
give up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. These are not easy things to talk about. Not everybody's willing to share their struggles, their life experiences. I appreciate your courage and willingness to come out and share your life journey with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Vikas Puri, for joining us and sharing your life journey with us today. When people like yourself come forward and share their life experiences on platforms like ours, especially on social media, it gives hope to people out there to change their mindset and change their life in a positive direction. That's our goal. We want to bring out individuals to allow them to share their life journey, to have to share that experience and have an open conversation about men's problems and challenges and how we can help them overcome. So, in closing, we have several live shows that you can participate in. The first one you just watched is Open Up, where we're on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, where we invite people to share their personal stories. Also, we do the same thing in Tamil. We have a Tamil language live talk show called Vili, and that takes place Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We host a monthly webinar. It's the first Saturday of every month. That's from 10:30 to 11:30 Eastern Time, where we bring the expertise of organizations and discuss a specific topic during that session. We also host a special monthly show called the Unspoken Tears. That is the second Saturday of every month from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The focus is on domestic violence against men, bullying, male sexual abuse traumas, and human trafficking. We now have a South Asian men's show the third Sunday of every month from 11:30 to 12:30. Voice of Men 360 and All Bengal Men's Forum will be hosting this show. It's a special show focused on South Asian men to create awareness. Each week or each month, a different country from South Asia will participate. And then we turn all of our content into podcast episodes. So please look for us for more from your favorite platforms: iPhone, Google Play, Spotify, and more. And we also have some support groups for our community out there. We have a men's support group, men's only, third Tuesday of every month from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. through Zoom. That next one is July 20th at 6 p.m. The link will be in our Facebook group. We also have an Indigenous support group, peer-to-peer support group. We call that Pass the Talking Stick. That's the fourth Friday of every month from 6 to 7 p.m. through Zoom. The next one will be on Friday, July 23rd, 6 p.m. Again, through Zoom. Please find our Facebook page or group for the link. And again, there are no limitations with gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups. All walk of life are invited to participate in our programming. If you want to be a guest on our shows or willing to participate in our organization or become involved in spreading the word about men's work, please reach out to us for more. We'd love to work with individuals, professionals, experts, government organizations, NGOs, corporations, and more. Our phone number, if you want to reach us, is 437-889-8329. Once again, that's 437-889-8329. You can email us at info@voiceofmen360.org, which makes our website www.voiceofmen360.org. And then we on all of your social media platforms: LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and more. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube for more. And we want to reach out and help more people. Please continue your support and to help share the word. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, I'm RJ Horner. Better days ahead.